Hi, I'm Joe Sutton, behind the silver screen with Channel 22, for Channel 22 in the Motion Picture and Television Fund. Welcome to our show. Jackie Ackerman, I've been so anxious to talk to you. Welcome.
It's my pleasure.
No, it's my pleasure.
Well, okay, so we'll share it.
Okay, we'll share it. Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
Born. A lot of freckles. You're a street kid at the age of 3 years old.
Yes.
How the heck did you do that?
Well, there's a trick to it. I had an older brother.
Right.
There was 6 boys in the family and one girl. But the 6 boys, were newsies on the streets.
You were selling newspapers at the age of 3.
But my older brother took me with him wherever he went.
Yeah.
He'd carry a load of papers, and whenever he got a customer, he'd hand me the paper, and I would sell the paper, and they'd give me a dime, or it used to be a nickel.
Right.
So I made more money than he did, got with tips. So that was the way we did it. So there's a restaurant in Tampa, Florida, a very famous restaurant. It was a Greek restaurant, very good food.
Remember the name?
Manhattan Restaurant.
Okay.
Manhattan Restaurant.
Right.
And my brother went to this restaurant, and they had a sign on the door, "No newsboys allowed." So my brother, he was a smart man, I'll tell you that. He used me as a well, I won't.
You were the shill?
A Scrooge. And he would stand alongside on the outside and watch me. He'd send me in with a newspaper. I couldn't read, I wouldn't know what I'm doing. He'd tell me to go in there and sell papers. So I went in, I got to the first table. Here comes this great big guy. He was a Greek, he owned the restaurant, with a big apron on, and he's shaking his finger at me. He says, "You're not allowed in here. You're not allowed to come in here and sell newspapers." And he yelled at me so loud, I started crying. And so I turned around and go back, and they, at the table, they said, "Well, just a minute, I want a paper." So they bought one paper, and I went out and I told my brother. He was watching the whole thing anyways. So he says, "Look, Jackie, you go back in. You're a little kid. They won't bother you. You go back in." So I took another paper in. I went in a little further. Here comes this big Greek again. This is all a true story.
I believe it.
He started yelling at me. I mean, this time he was really yelling at me, and I was scared to death. So the table I went to on the interior said, "I want that paper. Let him come in and give it to me." So I went out, and my brother sent me back in the 3rd time. And after everybody made a big fuss over it, said, "What do you want picking on the little boy? He's trying to make a living." Whatever they said, they made the guy say, "Okay, well, we'll let him come in."
Right.
I was the only newsboy that could come to that restaurant.
The Manhattan Restaurant in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
Now, you had a nickname when you were a kid. You were a freckle-faced little kid?
They call me Freckles, yeah.
And what else did they call you? You were the champion. You had a nickname for the whole state of Florida.
Well, the Sunshine City Kid. That's what I was, the Sunshine City Kid. And
that's a Damon Runyon character's name. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard. How old were you when you got that name?
I was about 5 years old.
Now, at the grand old age of 6, a guy saw you and wanted to bring you to Hollywood as an actor, correct?
That's right.
Can you tell us that story?
That's right. He wanted to take me and put me in movies.
And what happened?
Well, he wanted to take me to Hollywood.
Right.
He was a bank manager and a very nice man. And he wanted to take me to Hollywood because I had all this publicity. And my mom wouldn't go unless I went with him. And he says, "No, I can't afford to take her, but I'll take him." And she said, "Well, he's not going to go. I'm not going to let him go without me." You know.
So you were almost here when you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
So your first job in California, you're 15 years old, is Hollywood and Vine, and you came out here?
That's right.
How lucky can you get?
When I came out here, I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
On my own. I was car hopping out on a pier in St. Petersburg, and these 2 boys came to the to the corner where I served the drinks,
Right.
a car hop. And these two boys were planning on coming to California. So I got to talking to them. I said, how about taking me there with you? So they said, okay, let me know. You have to pay your way. I said, that's okay. So I came out here to California.
At the age of
with those
15.
two boys. And they dropped me off at 5th and Main Street and took off. There's a stairs from the street that goes up to the first floor, rooms for rent. And he said, you can stay there tonight. So I took my little suitcase. I didn't have any money. So I went up the stairs at 50 cents a room for the night. It was just a cot. And this Chinese guy was there with a green light hanging over a desk. And he took the money, and I went in. I said, my God, what am I into? I didn't know. So the next day, I got up early. I must have had a couple of dollars I put under the pillow. I got that out, put that in my pocket, and I started going to the newspaper office where they
Hired newspaper boys. Right.
And so on my way over, that Slim that I talked about was in charge of all the newsboys.
In Los
Hollywood.
Angeles?
In Hollywood.
Okay. But you were downtown?
I'm downtown now.
Right, okay.
Anyways, he said, you go down the street here, a block away to the newspaper office. And I told him what I was doing and where I came from and the experience I had. So he says, boy, he says, I can use you. He said, over on Hollywood and Vine, the man is sick. It's been there for years, an older man. And was very good at that. We'll let you go there temporary.
What paper were you selling, the Herald or the Daily News?
The Herald.
The Herald Examiner?
Yeah, yes.
It was my paper.
Yeah, the wonderful, wonderful paper.
Yeah.
So I did that for, it must have been a month or so. And the guy came back to take my job. He says, Jackie, you sold more papers on that lot than ever has been sold. Because I'm a hustler, you know, I hustle.
What was your call? How did you call newspapers for sale?
Newspaper?
Yeah.
Read all about it, extra, extra. I'll read all about Ann Southern. She dyed her hair red. No, she dyed her hair. I said, she died? You know, and I'd use a gimmicky thing, and I said, yeah, she dyed her hair. And I did a lot of different things to draw their attention.
Sure.
Read all about it, extra, or whatever.
Jackie, now there's a classic story, and I'm going to show a picture here to our audience. Who are we looking at now?
Eleanor Powell.
One of the greatest dancers.
She is one of my best friends. She is something very special. There's a story to that before.
Tell me about what's the name of
Buttons?
this? Buttons.
I was working in a studio. He was a prop man. I was just a kid. And I heard Buzz Berkeley was looking for a dog to dance with Eleanor Powell
Right.
in Lady Be Good.
Right.
And they worked for about 2 weeks or more. These different dog trainers came with their dogs, and they tried, and none of them worked because every time Eleanor Powell started tap dancing, the dogs get spooked and would run away.
Yeah.
It would scare them. They're not used to that.
Yeah.
But I so happened to have a dog that I trained for 2 years to dance with me because I'm a dancer. And I danced a number with my dog that knew how to do all these things that they wanted.
Right.
So I showed the dog to Buzz Berkeley, and he says, but that's not the kind of a dog I wanted. I wanted a poodle. I says, well, you didn't find one yet, so you better look at this dog, what he can do. I showed him what he can do. He says, go down there in rehearsal hall on channel, stage 8, I think.
Right.
And Eleanor Powell was in there rehearsing. So I took the dog down there and told her they'd send me over to show her. I knew her anyways because I'd worked with her.
Yeah.
I showed her the dog, and she said, oh, wow. I said, you want to see what he can do? And I showed her the routine that I did. Then she improvised with her dancing to do what my dog was doing, dancing around her as she was dancing in a circle
Yeah.
and doing different things as she's tapping, and he's doing all the things. Then at the end of that scene, they start playing a Hawaiian song, da 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 da, and my dog went over and put his paws on the chair and did the hula.
You taught that time.
That's in the picture. Lady Be Good.
Lady Be Good. Now I have to rent that movie and watch it.
So I'm telling you,
Oh, what a great
this is
story.
a bag of gold that I have. Now getting
How
back
many
to
people could say they saved Jean Harlow's life?
well,
Not many.
I don't think anybody. I work with Victor Fleming, who was a director who
Yeah.
did that movie in the desert with
Jean Harlow?
Jean Harlow,
Right. What movie was that?
The Blonde Bombshell.
Okay. Which she
And,
was.
Yeah, Rawson, who's in the picture too, who's a cameraman,
Robert Rawson.
a very famous guy.
Yeah.
She married him finally.
Yeah.
And one of the scenes that Jean Harlow was, she's coming in on the horse from out in the desert, this one particular scene, and it was hot, very hot in the summertime. We all had to wear ties, and you just noticed in the picture, no jeans or anything that
You had a dress.
they had a dress code. And I saw Jean Harlow coming in, lopping in with the horse, and she was doing like that, and I'm right behind the camera. I always work behind the camera, never anywhere else. Right behind the camera, always.
Right.
That was my specialty. I saw everything that went on. Just like when I came in, I saw the cameraman said hello. I waved to him. I knew he was here. I waved to this guy. You know, recognition. So I caught her. She was falling off the horse. I caught her in my arms before she hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
And I brought her over. And that's when I was standing there holding the dog, holding the horse by the leash.
The stirrup.
Stirrup.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
So that was the end of that one thing.
Did Jean Harlow thank you?
Did she thank me?
For
she was
catching
in love
her?
with me. She didn't have to thank me. I was in love with her. She really was. She was something.
Touche. That-
I
you
had a
answered the
torch.
question.
I had a torch for her.
Well, it wasn't unrequited.
I
She
love-
loved you too.
I loved women then. I still do.
Jackie, excuse us for a minute. We have to take a short break. You're watching Jackie Ackerman Behind the Silver Screen. I'm Joe Sutton for Channel 22. We'll be right back.